Hello everyone, my name is Adreden, and today we are going to do some prefab additions to the map. Alright, let's do it. Alright guys, so if you do want to add a prefab to the game, there's two ways to do it inside the game that don't involve anything extra. One is through the editing tools, and that goes to the world editor, and the other is in-game. So I finally figured out how to do that. It's best done in a map that you are going to be playing rather than one that you already are playing. All right, so if you want to add a prefab to a already existing map, I'm going to add one in a couple minutes, and at some point I'll probably also do another video about adding it via the XML. So let's go to world editor, and you have to find the county that you were wanting to add something to, and I've made a copy of the pre-gen world 3 just because I've started to make some changes in it, and so we're gonna start that one up and play it. Okay guys, so once we're into the world that we want to do something in, find the spot that you want to add your prefab in. Okay, so some of the basics of this are you need to press your Z key to bring up the start of a selection. Now the reason for doing this is you want to find where you want to place your prefab first and how much space it's going to take up, because some of them are really big, and for example, like there was one big enough that I didn't want it to knock out this house or that stadium or maybe even this loot. I would need to be careful about it, and because you don't want to wipe out one of these guys here. So after you have a rough idea of where you want to do it, we should figure out how to also manipulate this selection. If you press Z again, you can select a larger area. If you hit G, you can move it up and down, left, right, forward, backward, etc. If you hit V, there's a couple other weird things that it can do here, like moving objects. Like I think if we were to move the grass, we could do that pretty easily, but I'm going to move the selection up. We're going to increase the selection area. Now that's Shift G is the one we need for that, and that's just you do that. That's if you want to get something like that's taller. Okay. Then if you press the X key, you can rotate it, and you see how the grass is moving? That's because that grass is now part of the selection box and it's rotating around. Not exactly what we want to do. And then there's the Control G key, which allows you to sort of flip these things. You can flip it even vertically, which is just really weird. But, I mean, I guess if you wanted to mirror it somehow. Anyhow, so that is pretty much that. But yeah, I think this is a good enough start. So the next major thing is how to clear them. If you press your left mouse button, you'll just swing up and it'll clear. If you do this and hit your right mouse button, you just end up, you know, swinging your arm and not much else. So yeah, make your selection. This is all you really need to do for one little area here. Oh, another really quick little tip is if you're in this mode, you can also see all the prefabs by going show dynamic prefabs over here by hitting the escape key to get over here. And then that will let you see all the prefabs and what they are. And then if you left mouse button, guess you have to be closer? Yeah, you have to be closer. A certain distance to them, left mouse click and you can select them. And from there you can do various manipulations, but that isn't really part of this particular example. So I want this to go here. Let's hit the K key finally. Okay, and we want to go dynamic prefabs and find something that is good. Now I wanted to add in my Adreden scientific thing for this first part, and then later I'm going to do the garage. I want to load this into my clipboard for now because I kind of want to get it positioned. Then I hit Control V, that brings it in. Basically where the rough placing of it, but whether it's facing this way or facing that way, I'm not sure yet. To hit Control V a second time, that actually is perfect for where I want it. But like I said, if you wanted to flip it forward to backward, you could hit Control G and then pull on that one, and that would flip it 180, but sometimes the letters don't survive very well. So it's kind of like it rotates in a weird kind of way. I don't know, it's weird. So anyway, that's where I want it. That's actually going to be incredibly easy. Though once you have something selected here, if you do press the X key, you can rotate it, but then sometimes it'll go over top of other items and then those will kind of be gone. But they're only gone in a sense just in the editor. You can destroy the ground like a huge amount, and because it doesn't save, it's never gonna, you know, be a problem. Okay, so anyway, we know where that is now. Like I said, you can, if you wanted it to be right on top of the road, you could, in theory, slide it on over. Well, let's just do that just for fun. Why not? Bam. Just like that. And now, when we come back to save it, this one's going to be gone because it was just copy-pasted in. But what we're going to do here is we're going to actually hit the K key, bring up dynamic prefabs. We're going to load into prefab, and that should be there now. Now, I think if you wanted to see it, you should be able to just hit apply BB. Yep. And that will bring it there. And it is here now. Now, this one actually is going to be here if you save it. If you don't save it, it won't be there, which is kind of useful if you have spawned something in and it's like, say, broken this one, you know, then that's a good thing to have, right? Now, if you wanted to delete one, you know, like, let's say we select this one. Now this one is unselected. Select it again, go here, delete prefab, and it is gone. So we go back, hit Z. I think I want to move that forward one, G, and then we all good to bring one back in. Dynamic prefabs, load into prefab. It actually looks like it's not in the right location. Not well, I mean, slightly different from where it was. I guess it's just due to the way that it was. I'm actually going to delete that and just make sure, because what happens is they load in to the northeast, right? Like your starting point is actually going to be the lower corner, the corner, I suppose, that is the southwest corner, and then everything kind of loads into the northeast. I don't know if you know, like, that's sort of what I mean. So for example, with this POI, this will be like the selection corner of where it's positioned, but then it loads in this direction, you know? Okay, dynamic prefabs, load into prefab. I want to see that thing just because. Okay, now that's exactly where I had it before. Now we hit save, and I'm going to exit and reload, and this one should be gone, and this one should be here. I also wanted to maybe quickly show, like, yeah, if you did destroy part of the ground here, if we went that, and then I'll just have to go underground to show you. Hit Control G, select a little bit more, K, clear selection. That hole won't be there when we come back. We'll save it just in case, exit, and once again you come back to it in the world editor. Otherwise you have to start an entirely new game, and that's not what you want at this stage. Okay, and we're back. See how the second one is not there because it wasn't an actual prefab, and the hole is gone too. Like, so you can cause a certain amount of damage on the map editor, and it doesn't actually affect it. So there you go. It's added into the game, and now you would be ready to start using this map if you'd never used it before. Now, here's a little thing about how to add a prefab to a map that already exists. And then to add it into a normal game that's already running, I don't know if this works on servers because I haven't tried it on a server, and I'm not so sure that it's so easy to do some of these particular things. Maybe we'll try in a moment. Okay, so to bring it into a game that you already have, some of the things that I would do, of course, is clear out the zombies, kill all, boom, get rid of them. Find an area that is got a lot of space. This is a new world, so I'm going to be bringing it in. I've already brought this in via the previous method I showed you. And we're going to just go forward and pick up some space here. I'm going to do a lot more than I actually need. Partly because I just really don't want to have to deal with anything that's going to be a problem here. And yeah, that's like 2, maybe 3 times as much of what I actually require. We're going to hit clear selection. Now what's happened a couple times for me is I've spawned in these prefabs and then I get like a tree on the inside of it, and then that just really messes the whole thing up. It's very not nice, shall we say. Okay, so now you have a nice flat area to put your thingamajig at. We will reselect something here. Now this prefab, I think is 3 or 4 deep. Yeah. So yeah, you hit Z, then K. We're also going to actually turn off the zombie AI, just so nothing more wanders over this way. All right. So that is that. Yeah, K, dynamic prefabs. I'm going to bring in my bridge killing corridor. We're going to load it into prefab, and then we're going to hit apply BB. And you see that it's here. It's a bit too high. So of course you need to lower it down because it depends on how much space it is right now. It looks like it's probably got to go down a couple, like 3 or 4. So what I would do is hit K, delete prefab, and find the spot. It's a little bit off. And I guess I'm going to lower it 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Hopefully that's good. Okay, dynamic prefabs. Load into prefab. Okay, apply BB. That's good enough for me. This is a base I don't know that I'm going to use a whole lot more. Okay, so over the last few weeks, I've recorded this video probably 2 or 3 times. Always trying to figure out various ways to do this, and I thought it was kind of more of an art to figure out how to make these things stay, and it was a matter of sinking them into the ground a little bit, doing various small things. But then I watched another video on well, structural stability and stuff, and so if you want, you can hit escape, go down here, show stability. Now what this does here is it shows you, we gotta just go inside here. Up, please don't touch the ground. I mean, you probably could, but it's questionable. All right, so you can see here, light green actually means that it's got like no support. It's ready to fall, right? So you're not gonna get very far out on this before the weight becomes too much and it goes, falls down, right? Now, if you see buildings like this, this dark green means that it's supported all the way down to bedrock, right? But if you were to maybe see some things here, yeah, this one you can barely see it, but this one is the darkest green, and then each one of these as you go out becomes lighter until there, and then gets darker here. That's because this has a pillar there. You can barely see it, but that pillar helps support this whole thing until about this point. So there's about the weakest point, somewhere here in the middle as well. Okay, so all that said, the key secret that I learned to getting this to work is once you're at this stage, you hit recalculate stability. And this base is actually not that stable, but it might be okay. Yeah, you can kind of see it here too, right? Like, this is supported pretty much all the way to the ground, and then it gets progressively unsupported as it goes, but it is made out of metal, so I should be able to walk on it. I hope this works. If we undo God mode and we take a little step, we can also turn off show stability. It's just kind of an eyesore at this point. This is the weakest part of this bridge, but these are truss blocks, so they are pretty darn strong. Well, I fell down just like a zombie. Come on, get out of there. So there's that. So that is how you bring a prefab into a world that is already being played. And well, let's just reload it, I guess, so that you can see. So I'm just gonna exit. You don't need to save it because it's already saved inside the game. Okay, so as you can see, it's here in our world. There's no more border for this prefab. And the particularities of this particular one is that because I had grabbed it while it was already damaged, when I recalculated the stability, this part was extremely weak, and so I knocked out one block up there like a piece of debris, and it made the whole thing collapse. So I had to redo this thing again. This is a problem. I'm not sure why it's not calculated that properly. There we go. That should be better. Now I think that the stability of this is fine. If we turn off our really annoying thing, good, great, but man, is it also kind of annoying. It should be fine to use again. I'm really glad I took a, a prefab of it before I tried to repair it in the other world, because it would have collapsed the entire thing. It was so close to being destroyed from all those demolishers and such. I was really lucky. But then I just supported it underneath with some more blocks, repaired it up, and it is good to go again. But as you can see, it's not collapsing, and it is totally fine. So that is fantastic. And if we also go just over to here, this base is a-okay as well. This one here I brought in via the method I did with the Adreden scientific thing, and the whole thing is not collapsing at all. It is totally fine. Yep, so that shows that's okay. And there's actually one other location where I figured out how to do this. It is way out here in the desert, and it is here, but I don't think it's in this particular world. Now, this is one of those houses here that I sunk into the ground as an attempt to try to figure out what was going on. And if you go show stability, you can see that the house is actually okay now, but it wasn't really okay when I started. So it's sort of a bit of a bugger there. Yeah, and then brought this one in via the whole same process, and then of course this one here. So to bring it into the game in a server, what you should hopefully be able to do is do that, hit dynamic prefabs, find what you want to load into it. I've already pre-cleared this area out because of course I needed to, just in case there was anything possibly bad there. Load into prefab, apply BB. I don't really care right now if this one is too high or too low. Next we're going to recalculate the stability. I'm going to do it a couple times because I'm paranoid. Hooray. Next I'm going to hit save all prefab positions a couple times. Hooray. And then we're going to go into here and hit save world. Yay. And I'm just going to be extra paranoid here. Save all prefabs and save world again. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so even after doing all those steps, it appears that there is no real good way to add them in-game onto a server. You might be able to use Bad Company Manager, or do it via the prefab.xml file, but as far as I know, you can't do it in-game. I will possibly make another video on this if I ever figure it out. But I have spent about 2 weeks trying to figure this stuff out, and it's not quite working for me. And so, but I'm okay, and I think it's pretty much okay if, you know, most people's non-server games allow for stuff to be inserted that way. So, anyhow, I'm gonna get off this server. Okay, guys, so yeah, once again, this is that whole new world that I created here. Well, as you can see, that's one of those prefab things where it doesn't pop in because there's no imposter for that one yet. Anyhow, yeah, because of that issue, I thought I needed to bring these into a brand new world to make them work, and it turns out that I don't, but that is fine and good. And so I'll probably bring in a couple of the other projects I was working in into this world, and then that'll be good. Because, yeah, it was, you know, a bit of work bringing these POIs into this brand new world. And I don't even think it was necessary the way that the Fun Pimps seem to be updating things. So, you know, you may not need to bring things up to a brand new world just because they updated the version. Every alpha, of course, is different, but this seems okay. But yeah, this POI works really well, and I'm doing some tutorials with it, so that's good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed that video, hit the like button and share with some friends. If you are new to the channel and like what you see, hit the subscribe button to stay informed and learn more about 7 Days to Die. Alright, I will see you in another video. Bye bye.